Hi everyone. I want to help you with trinomial factoring. Factoring is such an important skill in mathematics, but it's not one that comes easily. It's not obvious to a lot of people. However, it's not even all that hard of a concept. It's kind of like, honestly, it's kind of like learning, let's say, learning to drive a standard. Okay? It takes a while, it takes a lot of practice, but once you get it, you get it. You just get comfortable with it, it becomes natural to you. Trinomial factoring is a lot like that. Okay, takes a little bit of getting used to. You got to kind of get over that hump, and then once you're there, you're good. Now, to start off with, what we're going to do here is we're going to take a couple of binomials. We're going to multiply them together, because I'll show you here what we mean. This is what a trinomial would look like in factored form. This is our goal here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this. We're going to expand this out, get an answer, and then I'm going to show you how we get back to this. Okay? So now, first of all, I'm going to expand this out. And remember how that works here. We take both terms from this first binomial and they get distributed to both terms in the second binomial here. It's just a distribution. So 3x will get multiplied by 2x plus 5. And then the negative 2 will also get multiplied by 2x plus 5. 3x gets distributed to those terms, and we get 6x squared plus 15x when I distribute the 3x to those two. Negative 2 then gets distributed to these two terms. We get negative 4x and then minus 10. Now, what causes the problems when we start factoring is that I now am going to put these two terms together. I'm going to combine them. So 6x squared, well, positive 15 and negative 4 is going to get me 11x with a negative 10 at the back there. And the fact that those two get combined together, that's what causes some of the difficulty here, because it's kind of difficult to undo that little bit of addition there, the adding of the negatives there, okay? So now we're going to take a look at how to go backwards from here and take us right back to the beginning here. And there are several methods that can be used to do this. So now we're going to take a look at a method that I'm going to call the Elder method, basically because this was shown to me by a colleague of mine whose last name was Elder, and I don't know that we ever actually did name it, so I'm going to name it after her. Now, I really like this method. I use this one for many years. I think it's quite quick and quite straightforward, particularly if you're used to multiplying out binomials using FOIL, okay, referring to the first product, outer product, inner product, and last product. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take and we're going to rewrite this in terms of the two binomials that we know are going to be multiplied together to get 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. Now, just like we've done previously, okay, what we've got to do here is we've got to figure out some missing numbers here. And so what I'm looking for here, I'm going to take that 6, I'm going to multiply it by negative 10. I am looking for two numbers whose product is going to be negative 60, but whose sum is going to be the coefficient of that middle term, that 11. Okay? Now, this is the hard part. This is always the hard part, finding those two numbers that follow this pattern. But in basically any method of factoring that you're going to employ, you're going to bump into this issue. But once you get past that, everything else kind of falls into place. Now, there is a bit of a tool that you can use here. I'm going to pull out the calculator. I'm going to press Y equals. I'm going to use the calculator to help me out here. I'm looking for two numbers whose product is negative 60. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to enter negative 60 divided by, and I'm going to press my variable button here, X. It's going to look like this. Now I'm going to press second graph to access the table of values. And what happens here is the calculator now chooses a whole bunch of X values and tells me what I get for the Y value. And so I'm just looking for the pair here that gets me a positive 11. Now when I slide down here to 4 and negative 15, that's encouraging because 4 and negative 15 together would give me negative 11. And if you go down a little bit further, you would notice that positive 15 and negative 4, that's the pair that gets me positive 11. So 15, negative 4, 15, negative 4. Now, here's the significance of these two numbers. Okay, if you understand the way FOIL works in order to expand two binomials here, then what you know here is this first term here is the product of the first two terms. This number back here is the product of the last two terms. This number right here is the sum of the outer and the inner. This is your OI, okay? So these two together give me the first term. These two together give me that last term, and I multiply them together. But what I just found were the outer and the inner products. I just found the OI. Okay? Now, it doesn't really matter what order you call it, you do this, whether this was the O, this was the O, or whatever. But what I've just done right now is, this is my 15, this is my -4. Okay? And to be clear here, you might even want to put an X here and an X here, just so that you see that it's connected to this middle term right here, the 15x plus the -4x. There's your positive 11. So now here's how this method works here. I am going to put a term here, but this term must be a factor of both the 6x squared and the 15x. Basically, I'm looking at these things for the greatest common factor between these two. And the answer is 3, okay? 3x between 6x squared and 15x squared, because this number here has got to be a factor of the 6x, and it's also squared, and it's got to be a factor of the 15x. Now, once I've made that choice, everything falls into place here. It really does. This is the only thing I had to do. From this point on, everything just kind of comes together. Because 3x multiplied by this right here has to give me 6x squared. So this has to be 2x. 3x multiplied by this term over here has to give me 15x. So this has to be positive 5. Now I look at my inner product. This term times this term must be -4. Well, 2x times what gives you -4x? And the answer is -2. And so really quite quickly, I go right back, and I'll show you here. This is where we started. 3x minus 2, 2x plus 5, and there we go. Now, and look at the amount of work that we did. I didn't show all that much work. Now, granted, you really got to understand what's going on here for this method to work here. But once you've got enough information to grab that first term, this is a very, very quick method of factoring.